What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to WrestleRant, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, every single Tuesday break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the In Your House 14 show, Revenge of the Taker, from April of 1997, the Backlash from WrestleMania 13. So if you guys checked out, it's a while ago now, we're going back a while, to my WrestleMania 13, 14, 15 reviews. I think I recorded those about 2 years ago on the road to WrestleMania 31, so you got to go way back. But they're all there if you go to the WrestleRant playlist. Every pay-per-view I think I've covered on the network, with the exception of all the 2016 shows, obviously the 2017 pay-per-views, which just happened, like the Rumble, Fastlane, WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, etc., etc. Every other pay-per-view I think I have covered here on WrestleRant, which is pretty incredible. So once we're done with In Your House, I'll be covering like the one-night specials, the takeovers, which will be fun, the 2016 shows, which I've been doing. Like, speaking of which, next week we're talking about Payback 2016 in preparation for Payback 2017, so stay tuned for that next Tuesday. But yeah, In Your House 14, the point I'm trying to make is that I was not a big fan of WrestleMania 13. I'm not even the biggest fan of the Attitude Era. Just from an in-ring standpoint, the matches were not the best, I'm sure, as you probably know, but this was not a bad show. I think I might have enjoyed this show a bit more than WrestleMania 13, just because WrestleMania 13, in my opinion, was a one-match show, Austin and Hart, and that was it. But I thought, this show wasn't great on the whole either, but the two top main events I thought saved it from being a completely deplorable show. So speaking of which, we kick off the show, the Legion of Doom going for the tag team titles against Owen, Hart, and the British Bulldog. Legion of Doom had just come back, I believe, at WrestleMania 13, earlier that month, the month prior, whatever. This was a good match. I thought the overbooking at the end and all the shenanigans kind of prevented it from being better. Because originally Legion, that'd actually be a pretty damn cool name. Legion of Doom had won the belts, but they pinned the Illegal Man. So they didn't win the championships. The match was restarted. Hart and Bulldog cheated to retain the belts, still the tag team champions. So the match was all right, but it was kind of a big match. Owen Hart and British Bulldog I don't think they dropped the belts at any point from when they won them in late 96 to this point. So they had a pretty lengthy reign as tag team champions. So this should have been a bigger match than just a fucking April In Your House pay-per-view match. I would have saved it for SummerSlam or whatever, even King of the Ring. But maybe not, just because this match wasn't really all that good before the, fuck-up finish, which protected Legion of Doom and kept the championships on Owen Hart and British Bulldog. I talked about in my In Your House pay-per-view review for, I think, the 13 one, not Mind Games, Fatal 4-Way, or Final Four, rather. I think it was on that show where Bulldog and Owen Hart had teased tension going into WrestleMania, which would mean nothing in the end, just because, they would be reunited by Bret Hart, the whole Hart Foundation, which was great because Bret Hart as the heel was awesome. The Hart Foundation was fucking awesome, so I have no complaints. But they were back on the same page in this match, lost the match via disqualification. Like I said, they had cheated to win, or they didn't win the match. Bret Hart got involved, that's what it was. I'm thinking of another match later on in the night. But regardless of the result, Owen Hart and British Bulldog still your tag team champions. Not the best opener. Savio Vega taking on Rocky Maivia for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, not a great match. I thought this was a rematch from WrestleMania 13. It was at WrestleMania 13 that Rocky took on the Sultan for his Intercontinental Championship, and Rocky won. Rocky had been champion for a while, since late 96, I believe, early 97. This was not a really good match at all. Rocky, the fans were already starting to turn on him. No one really gave a shit about him. The Nation of Domination was not a strong faction. It just wasn't doing anything for me personally. They had teased tension within the members of the Nation of Domination. Ahmed Johnson came to the aid of Rocky afterwards, agreed to take on every member of Nation of Domination, I believe on Raw the next night or whenever, in a handicap match, gauntlet match, whatever. And it's funny because both those guys in the ring, the baby faces, Rocky and Ahmed Johnson, would end up joining the stable at one point or another in the next couple months, as they should have. Ahmed Johnson was damaged goods regardless. The guy fucking was not good. But Rocky Maivia, obviously The Rock, may or may not go on to become one of the biggest stars in WWE history a short time after that. So obviously joining the group in the next couple months was the best thing for his stagnant career. After that, we had Jesse James taking on Rockabilly. In other words, we had Billy Gunn versus Road Dogg. In their early incarnations of their characters, Jesse James had just come back to the company, where Jeff Jarrett had left, and I think Jesse James was still there. He didn't leave like Jeff Jarrett did, but he would come back later on that year. But in Jarrett's absence, he would say, I sang the whole Rock My Baby or whatever the fuck the song was that Jarrett claimed was his number one hit. It was actually the Road Dogg, Jesse James, the entire time, the real Double J. But yeah, this fucking sucked. So the whole angle here was that the Honky Tonk Man tried to recruit Jesse James into kind of like be his mentor or be his protege, whatever. Jesse James said, "Fuck off, I want nothing to do with you," and smashed his guitar into a million pieces. Then the Honky Tonk Man trying to recruit Rockabilly, Billy Gunn, and that didn't work. But Rockabilly came out to aid Honky Tonk Man anyway. That was never really explained why he ended up reuniting with him. An alliance that would not last long, but needless to say, these two were better, way better as tag team partners than they ever were as one-on-one rivals. I think their TNA matches years later would fucking suck too one-on-one, and this was awful, absolutely awful. The gimmick sucked. The match itself was just terrible. Jesse James won to put just an end to this abysmal match. Thank God. So the undercard so far was not strong until arriving at this WWE title match for the WWE title, obviously, between The Undertaker, the defending champion, and Mankind. Taker was riding high off his WWE title victory at WrestleMania over Psycho Sid. And Mankind, those two had feuded for a solid year. I never knew that. I know they had feuded in 96 when Mankind initially came into the company, attacking Undertaker on the night after WrestleMania. Like in recent years, all we talk about is like the exciting moments from Brock Lesnar's return or the debut of Enzo and Cass, or Brock Lesnar attacking the commentators a few years ago. Like all these moments are happening on, or Warrior coming back, Ziggler cashing in on the ever-exciting post-WrestleMania Raw. But it really, I don't know if it started, but one of the cool early moments of the post-WrestleMania Raws was Mankind not only debuting, but attacking The Undertaker, triggering this 1 year-long rivalry that would also obviously bleed into 1998 with the infamous Hell in a Cell match. So, it's really one of the more underrated feuds in my mind of the Attitude Era that does not get the credit it deserves. And a lot of the matches they had were really, really good. This was a great match. Definitely one of their better performances. I can't sit here and say it was their best match of all time, but I'd have to watch back the other encounters. But for what this was with the championship on the line, I thought it was great. Kind of renewal of an old rivalry. Far better than Psycho Sid and Taker from WrestleMania 13. Mankind was great in this role. And yeah, Taker going over, still the WWE champion, so 2 thumbs up for that match. And that wasn't even the main event. The actual main event was what should have been the main event, in my opinion, at WrestleMania the month prior, so they did not make the same mistake twice. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on Bret Hart in a WrestleMania rematch. And of course, as you can likely recall, at WrestleMania was Bret Hart forcing Steve Austin to pass out in the sharpshooter, executing that double turn in the process in Chicago, Austin becoming this rebellious babyface, and Hart turning into this nefarious heel with the Hart Foundation backing him up. So with the roles firmly established this time around, they had a way different match than we saw at WrestleMania. And that match was obviously a lot better, just for obvious reasons. It's WrestleMania, the story they told. From a technical standpoint, it was better. But this was still a damn good match, and I'm not going to complain about it taking the main event slot because it was quite good. The part about this feud, not that it never made sense, but to me kind of felt like unfinished business. So the match was great, and Stone Cold won only after the members of the Hart Foundation got involved. There was a disqualification. And Savio Vega, I forgot to mention, beat Rocky Maivia early on via countout. So you had that match ending in a countout, that championship match. The first title match ending in a disqualification. The WWE title match ended via pinfall, clean, for Taker. But the main event also ended in a DQ. So I don't know. I'm sure there were other early 80s, late 80s, early 90s pay-per-views where there were a bunch of DQs on one show. But that's fucking stupid. You get 2 DQ finishes on one pay-per-view and a countout. 3 fuck finishes on one show. Come on. I thought that was kind of foolish. But yeah, so Stone Cold had Bret Hart in the sharpshooter. So great storytelling, playing off that infamous spot from WrestleMania the month prior. And then the members of the Hart Foundation came in, who had attacked Austin earlier in the evening to build sympathy for him. So I thought that was a great story they told throughout the night, with Austin getting attacked backstage, ultimately coming out anyway and winning the match via disqualification. But Austin, on a major stage anyway, I don't think would ever get that definitive victory. He might have beaten him on Raw. Maybe someone can help me out here. I'm sure there's other ways to look that up. I know there's a website that lists, all the wins and losses and everyone's win-loss record and shit. So I'm sure there's a way of figuring that out. But I think, to my memory anyway, there was not one major pay-per-view where Austin beat Hart via pinfall in a one-on-one match. And it's a shame because I think they were going to do the match the following year at WrestleMania 14 with Austin finally getting that big win over Bret Hart, I think to win the championship. But of course, the Montreal Screwjob happened and Bret Hart left for WCW, so that never really came to be. So kind of a unresolved rivalry was Austin versus Hart. And again, one of the more underrated feuds of that time period, from when it started in late 96 to the culmination or semi-culmination, so to speak, on this pay-per-view, to a great match. So the overall show was not great. The undercard fucking sucked. The first 3 matches were not good at all for the most part. The final 2, though, are very good. So I don't know if I would recommend watching the whole show, but as I've said before, these In Your House shows are like fucking an hour and 50 minutes. They're always under 2 hours. They're never anything longer than an episode of Raw, so I would say check them out. I would say check out this show, if only for the final 2 matches, especially the main event, Taker and Mankind. I don't know if it was their greatest match, and the main event was also not their greatest match, but it definitely salvaged this show from being completely abysmal. So check it out on the network. In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, from April 1997. So, like I said, next week we're taking a break from the In Your House pay-per-view reviews to bring you my review of Payback 2016, my retrospective, my retroactive, whatever, review of the pay-per-view from exactly 1 year ago in preparation for Payback 2017, I believe presented by the Raw brand. So that being said, guys, as always, I appreciate your support. Be sure to support the show by liking this video, sharing the video, dropping a comment, and also, of course, subscribing to the channel. New videos going up every single day of the week. Be sure to find me on the social medias, on the description box down below. All the links are down there. Find me on the Twitter machines, on the Facebook pages at facebook.com/graham.jason.matthews, on Twitter at WrestleRant, and like I said, right here on YouTube as well as my website for my full written review of Payback 2016, my upcoming review of Payback 2017, and everything else pretty much going on in the world of wrestling that I watch at nextairawrestling.net. So that being said, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you guys down the road.